Thanks for all the fantastic feedback, lovely comments, suggestions, and ideas based on the first video. It was not a perfect video, but that was not the whole point of it. The whole point of it was to add some value to your life and help you walk through certain issues as we deepen our relationship with God in different areas and different aspects. Now, I know that some people vying to be the first Pentecostal Pope. They've already gotten their life sorted out and everything is hunky-dory. They start speaking in tongues the day they were born and they just know God. But there are some of us who are still walking progressively and who are advancing. And the reason we're putting regeneration together, the reason I'm putting this together is not because I'm the super spiritual, know-it-all, talking with God every morning and dining with angels in the midnight hour. No, that's not the case. The case is I believe that I do not need to have a PhD in spiritual matters before I begin to share and before I begin to teach and before I begin to exchange that which I've received from God with other people who are receiving from God. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 7 things, the top 7 things that I believe that you need to lead a life that inspires other people and glorifies God, to lead a life of purpose, to lead a life of impact, a life of transformation, a life that will leave a positive impact, not just in this world, but also concerning eternal things. So what are these 7 things? The first thing you need is spiritual growth. Understand that you're not your body, your car, your house, your aircraft, your friends, your Facebook followership, or your Instagram likes, or how many videos you have on Vine, or how often you Snapchat or Chap Snap. No, you're deeper than that. You're more valuable than that. And that important part of you is your spirit, the part that God connects directly with. But how do you grow spiritually? Do you just wake up one day and find sprinkles of dust in a glory cloud? Is that how it happens? Or do you see an angel? How does it happen? How can you grow spiritually? The first day of regeneration, I'm going to be sharing with you certain tools that I've used for the last 23 years of my life, of walking progressively with God, of diving into the Word of God, learning how to pray, from praying for just a minute and sleeping off while praying, to now being able to pray for several hours, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that regardless of where you are, you also can grow. You can advance your life. You can have a relationship with God that is authentic, that is real, that is intimate, that is not religious, but nonetheless very deeply spiritual. So we're going to share that with you. I'll tell you what the main foundation for spiritual growth is, and at least 3 disciplines that you need to incorporate every day to grow progressively spiritually. Now you might say, but my dad used to be a lay reader, or my aunt is the soprano singer in the church I grew up in. But that's not what I'm talking about. You can have all the titles, but are you still growing? You can have a big Bible, but are you still growing? You can have a large church, but are you still growing? You can pray for people and they get healed, but are you still growing? On the second day, we're going to look at mental fitness. Whatever you allow in your mind, you promote in your life. Your mind is like a garden. You either sow in the right seeds or you have to endure the wrong weeds. So we're going to look at how do you keep your mind together? How do you deal with the toxic thoughts and those negative cycles and patterns of thinking that hold you back and seek to choke the God life out of you? How do you break negative cycles of reasoning? How do you avoid the ways of thinking that lead to death and embrace the ways of thinking that lead to life? That's what day number 2 is all about. On the third day, we're going to look at emotional wholeness. You know, many people are fractured emotionally because they were jilted, forgotten, abandoned, mistreated, used, dumped. Maybe you still have some scars from your past. Maybe you still have some fears about the future. Maybe you're anxious in the present. Maybe there are things that you're struggling with and you can't tell anybody about. On day 3, together, we're going to look into the Word of God, and through the filter of faith, we're going to examine how we can incorporate these changes in our lives. How do you overcome doubt, worry, anxiety, fear, depression, feelings of oppression? How do you deal with those things that fracture you emotionally? Don't miss regeneration. On day 4, we're going to look at relationship success. You see, it takes more than one to achieve greatness. The spirit of let us is the spirit of creation. In the beginning, God says, let us make man. God decided to build a relationship. How are the relationships in your own life, between you and your wife, between you and the key players in your life, between you and your boss, between you and the man who drives your bus? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the relationships, and how do you spin them around? How do you break the ones that drain you, deplete you, abuse you? And how do you build the ones that encourage you and the ones that you feed? I'm not talking about being exploitative or using other people now, but I'm talking about how to cultivate meaningful, long-lasting, and mutually beneficial relationships. You do not want to miss that. On day 5, we're going to look at business and career advancement. What is God's template for advancing your career? Somebody said the nice girls always lose in the corporate world. Is that true? And what does that really mean? How did people like Esther do it? In Bible times, David and Daniel and Joseph, who rose from the backside of nothing to become the most significant key players in the kingdoms and spheres wherein they operated. How can you do that in the 21st century? Whether you're at Santon Metroplex, or whether you're at Victoria Island, or whether you're in New York or Canary Wharf, or wherever you are, how do you do that if you're living in Beijing or Honolulu? How do you do that today using the Word of God? I'm not talking about snitching on other people and backstabbing and trying to maneuver and get into politics and politricks, but how you can advance your life and your business and your career God's way. Those are some of the things to look at on day 5. Now, on day 6, we're going to talk about financial prosperity. How do you access all the resources that God has for you to fulfill your divine assignment? People talk about prosperity and think, oh, I just throw in some money into God and God spins out tons of cash, and we've turned God into this gigantic and ginormous money-making machine and vending machine that we can use and abuse and manipulate to suit our own lusts and desires. Now, if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to like this at all, because we're going to re-examine that and look at productivity before we talk about profitability, and examine prosperity in biblical context, the way God ordained it, not the one that manipulates and tries to trick God and box him into a corner and bribe him with dollars and leads to disappointment over and over and over again, but the one wherein we understand that there is something we have to do and that God has already done what he has to do. And how do we tap into God's bank, the bank of heaven, to make withdrawals into our earth realm? And how do we give, and how do we allocate our funds? Those are some of the things we'll examine on day 6. Now, on day 7, we're going to look at physical health, because your body is the vehicle for your purpose. You can have all the money in the world and have all the impact, if you will, in the world. If you're sick in your body, if you're not healthy in your body, if you're not whole in your body, then there is a limit to what you can really do and how you can enjoy the things that God is bringing into your life. And as someone who has been so favored by God to spend now 25 years, now I need to guess, we're 1998, and this is, 17 years, Debbie. Someone who's spent 17 years enjoying divine health, without recourse to medication or surgery and all of that. I can share with you, I believe I can share with you a few things I've seen from the Word of God that can help you reverse the trends of degeneration and come to a place of regeneration, reverse the trends of disease and come into a place of divine ease, reverse the trend of sickness and weakness and come to a place of stability and joy. These are some of the things we examine during the regeneration. So if you haven't secured your seat yet for either the live sessions or the online sessions, you go to this link right now and make sure you secure your seat. I'm believing God that it's going to be a tremendous time of grace. I'm believing God for the supernatural. I'm believing God for the extraordinary. I'm trusting Him that as He unveils His glory to us and shows us His templates and His ways, we're going to grow deeper and stronger and wiser and better. And we're going to build a relationship that not only benefits us, but transforms nations and generations in the season and in the coming seasons. So in the next video, I'm going to share with you one key thing that I believe you must work on right now. Now, until then, do ensure you secure your seat. And if you like this video, like this video. Don't forget to share it with somebody in your world. Share it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Vine, Snapchat, and Just send this across because somebody somewhere desperately needs this. I'm believing that even as you do that, you will find tremendous favor in your own life as you act as a channel of favor for other people. Until the next video, remember that you are the answer to somebody's question. You are the solution to somebody's problem. So go out there today and every day. Make a positive difference because the world is waiting for